The missing posters. I've been a police officer for 10 years. A few weeks ago, I found my niece's face on a missing poster. The date on it was the day I found it. I started my shift just like any other, with a cup of coffee. 10 years on the job. Caffeine's basically part of the uniform. Get to work, throw on my uniform, grab the keys to my sector car, get the coffee flowing through my veins as fast as possible. My routine rarely strays. I stop at the same coffee shop 5 minutes from the precinct. They know my name. They know my order. I could walk in half asleep and still leave with exactly what I need. While I waited at the counter, my eyes drifted over to the corkboard near the door. The one layered with half-torn flyers and yellow business cards. Landscapers looking for work. A babysitter trying to pick up extra hours. A dog walker for people too lazy or too busy to do it themselves. Just as my name was called, something new caught my eye. A missing poster. I don't remember ever seeing one there before. Maybe I never paid attention. I grabbed my coffee and stepped towards the board. I took a closer look, tugging the paper free from its thumbtack. The photo stopped me cold. It wasn't a blurry security image or a kid who looked kind of familiar. It was my niece. Her school photo. The same one my sister keeps on the fridge. The same one I carry in my wallet. Above the picture, bold black letters, missing, last seen. The date written on there was the same day I was standing in the coffee shop holding it. I didn't have time to be confused. My hands were already patting my pockets, searching for my phone, when I realized it was still in my car. I ran, shoulder checking the door on my way out, nearly spilling someone's latte as I pushed past. No missed calls, no voicemails, no text. I hit my sister's number. No answer. Tried again. Nothing. I kept calling the whole drive over. Each ring felt longer than the last. I pulled up hard in front of their house, tires scraping against the curb. My niece's scooter was still on the porch from the night before, lying on its side. I rang the bell, then knocked and called her name. The door flew open. My sister stood there, wet hair, bathrobe disheveled, eyes wide like she just run from the shower. For a second, she just stared at me, confused, trying to place why I was there. Then she saw the crumpled flyer in my hand. The color drained from her face. "What happened?" she whispered. I stepped inside. She knew something was wrong before I said a word. I held out the paper. "Look at this." Her eyes went wide. For a second, she didn't breathe. What the hell is this? She's fine. She's at school." Are you sure?" "Yes, I saw her get on the bus just like every morning." "Call the school. Now," I said. "You're scaring me. Why wouldn't she be there?" Just call, please." She grabbed her phone with shaking hands. I turned away, trying to keep my head clear. I needed to radio this in, tell a supervisor something. There was no chance in hell I could finish my shift without knowing she was safe. I walked into the kitchen, trying to gather my thoughts, my mind racing. The fridge caught my eye. The picture, her school photo, the one that I had grown accustomed to seeing, was gone. I went back to the living room, my sister standing still, phone slipping from her hand. It hit the floor and bounced once against her bare foot. Tears filled her eyes. She never made it," she whispered. I called my supervisor and explained the situation. Told him we had a missing juvenile. Told him about the missing poster I'd found. He assured me that all hands would be on deck and told me to wait there so my sister and I could give statements when the other officers and detectives arrived. Even though my sister was distraught, we still needed answers. I asked her about the missing photo from the fridge. She looked confused. "I never took that photo down. Why would I?" The pit that had already settled in my stomach starting to feel like it was spreading through the rest of my body. I told my sister not to move and stood up slowly. I took the gun from my holster and began to clear the house. Something hung over the place. I can't put my words to it, but It didn't feel right. The last room left to check was my niece's. I opened the door and stepped inside, ready to confront anyone or anything I saw. Her room was a disaster. Clothes on the floor, toys everywhere, half-finished drawings on the desk. Now, it was spotless. Bed made with perfect corners, toys put away in every bin they belonged in, no clothes on the floor, not even the dust on the dresser. I called for my sister. She came into the doorway and froze. "Did you clean this? Did she clean this?" I asked. No. Her voice was flat, empty. She broke down crying. The first unit showed up less than 10 minutes after I called it in. Blue lights rolled across the front of the house, painting the walls. 2 uniforms came through the door, calm but moving fast. One of them knew me. He didn't say anything, just gave me a small nod that seemed to say, "We got it from here." I holstered my weapon and stepped back towards the kitchen. The energy drained out of me all at once. I could feel the weight of the gun pulling at my belt, the sweat drying cold under my vest. A detective arrived next, followed by crime scene techs. They moved quietly, professionally. My sister sat at the table with a blanket over her shoulders, answering the same questions again and again. I tried to focus on the facts of my statement, time, location, who found what, but my mind kept jumping back to that room. A tech brushed powder over the doorframe, then over the dresser. Nothing but smudges. He went to the window next. After a minute, he called the detective over. They had found prints on the inside glass. Small ones. Too small to be mine, too defined to be old. Outside, the radio crackled. More units conveying the neighborhood, checking the bus stop, talking to anyone awake. I stood by the front window, watching the reflection of red and blue pulse across the street. Then a voice came over the radio. "Dispatch, we got something at the bus stop. Another poster. Different photo, same handwriting." Everyone in the room went still. The detective looked at me. "Stay here," he said quietly, and headed for the door. I watched him leave, lights spilling after him into the dark. I wasn't about to just stand there, so I followed. The photo seemed to be taken that morning. My niece, standing at the bus stop, backpack on, head turns towards the street. The detective asked, "You take this?" I didn't answer, because we both knew I had it. The detective kept the photo sealed in an evidence sleeve. He told me to go home and get some rest, let them handle the canvas. I nodded, but we both know I wasn't going to sleep. My sister needed me. My niece needed me. I walked back to the house to tell my sister what we'd seen. Her world was crashing down around her. She shouldn't be alone. I convinced her to grab a few things and come stay with me until we figured this out. With no other choice, she agreed. We stopped by the precinct to pick up my personal car. Not many words between us. I looked over at her. "We're gonna find her. I'm going to find her." No response. She just stared out the window. We pulled into my driveway. I got out first and grabbed her bag from the back seat. The porch light flickered once we walked up. Something was stuck to the door. Even before I read it, I knew what it was. Another missing poster. Another different photo. It was from my birthday. My niece hugging me, both of us smiling at the camera. A picture that only I had. A picture that was in my living room. The detectives came to sweep my house. The door frame showed no forced entry, no prints. The birthday photo was gone. That night, sleep never came. My sister was on the couch, the TV still playing from where we'd left it. The volume was low, a soft hum under the silence. I checked the doors twice, and a third time, every lock, every window. When I walked back into the living room, my sister had finally drifted off, exhaustion winning over panic. I went to grab another blanket for her. That's when I noticed the empty space on the wall. I couldn't believe someone had been in my house. I couldn't believe any of this was happening. Then I heard it. A faint whirling sound from the hall. I followed it towards my office. It grew louder, steady. When I opened the door, the printer on my desk was running, pages spilling onto the floor. I stepped closer and I picked one up. A missing poster. Same format, same bold letters. Each one was a different photo of my niece. While gathering the flyers from the printer, I stayed on edge. Every sound in the house felt like louder than it should have been. The hum of the machine wasn't just a noise anymore, it was a crawling under my skin. Then I heard a scream. My sister. I sprinted towards the living room. I grabbed my gun off the kitchen counter as I passed. She was on the couch, folded in on herself, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. I wanted to go to her, to tell her it was okay, but my training kicked in. Stay vigilant. Stay alert.
What happened?
I asked, moving towards the window. I peeled the blinds open just enough to see outside. Nothing. Just the soft yellow of the streetlight bleeding across the lawn. I checked the locks and the doors and the windows. Everything was still secure. She could barely get the words out, her voice shaking between each breath, but I heard her.
I saw a flash. Someone took a picture outside the window.
I told my sister to call 911 and not to move. I stepped outside, gun drawn, scanning the yard. Nothing. No movement, no footprints, no sign anyone had been there. I approached the bay window of the living room. Still nothing. Just as I started to catch my breath and turn back towards the house, a blinding light hit me. The flash of a camera. Before I could react, my head slammed against the glass. I heard my sister scream. Her voice faded into static. When I came to, she was still screaming my name. Lights and sirens echoed off of what was left of the window.
Stay down, an ambulance is on the way.
I'm fine, I shouted, trying to stand. I wasn't fine. My vision was blurred. Blood was running down my face and my legs could barely hold me. I tried to hide the pain, but then I saw it, lying next to me on the ground. The photo. It was me, right before the attack. I should have given it to the detectives. I mean, it was evidence after all, but this wasn't just a case anymore. It was personal. If anyone was gonna find my niece, if anyone was gonna find the monster doing this to us, it was gonna be me. The MTs started working on me, but I told them I wasn't going to the hospital. They tried to insist, but that ended fast once they realized I wasn't changing my mind. After the officers and the detectives finished questioning us and taking our statements, they told us to spend the night somewhere else. Both of our houses were off limits now. They didn't feel like ours anymore. We didn't feel safe. My niece, her daughter, was still missing. And the bastard who did all of this, he was playing games with us. We got a hotel room just before sunrise. I sat on the edge of my bed and reached into my pocket. The photo was still there. I stared at my own shocked face, trying to think, trying to make sense of it, but my head was still too foggy to stir. But my head was still too foggy to string a single thought together. I turned the photo over. 3 words were written on the back. She is perfect.